Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. One-week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Got a player who's hurt? No problem. Injuries won't derail your shot at victory because it's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players. Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash. This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000. And a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com. You could be next. Imagine winning $1 million in one day just playing fantasy football at DraftKings. Head to DraftKings.com now and use promo code Spreaker to play free in the $10 million Fantasy Football World Championships. DraftKings.com. Bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here, then we might as well shine together. Better now than never.
Thank
Business
you
before
joining me for
pleasure.
another edition of the Bob Sullivan Show here on a Thursday night. If you'd like to call in, please call in at 585-633-7487. I am joined here tonight by Alex Smith of AXSmithSports.com and KellyInVegas.com. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, trying my best to stay warm in one of the coldest places in the country right now. So it's nice and toasty in the apartment, so that's all I can ask for.
I can brave the cold. It's the wind. I don't think people appreciate the wind as much as we do here in the Midwest.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I said, we were talking earlier, the other day I got up early in the morning. We had 37-mile-an-hour winds, and wind chills were 37 below. Temperatures were about 5 below, just as cold as cold can get. It gets to the point where no matter how many layers you put on, you're just still going to be cold. So you got to figure out a way to just make yourself comfortable and deal with it, you know?
Well, the worst part of it all is, like in the winter, we get the wind chill. In the summer, we get the humidity. I mean, there's no winning. I mean, you can't escape the worst parts of the cold, the worst parts of the heat.
And you know, the one, I guess there's one place in Chicago. Growing up there, it was at least nice to have the wind in the summertime because it just kind of blew the hot air around. So it made it a little bit more tolerable. But now, living up here in Minnesota, you get days where there's no wind whatsoever in the summer. It's just high humidity, and then right off the river, it's just it gets to be sticky. So you don't have a nice middle in between at any point. It's just hot weather for 3 months and cold weather for 9 months, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a little college football this segment. This big story this week is with Oregon and Ohio State is Ohio State can practice however long they want. They have no practice restrictions. Oregon, since they're back in school, they can only practice 20 hours, meet with the players for 20 hours during the week. How big of a deal do you think that is, or do you think it's not going to factor into the game at all?
I don't think it'll be too big of a factor, mainly because, like I said, with the new playoff system, it's not, obviously, you kind of saw a little bit of it with the Oregon-Florida State game. Oregon took a more conservative approach late in the game. I mean, it didn't matter. They still were scoring points at will because Florida State completely gave up. But they realized late in that fourth quarter, hey, we got another game to play now. We're taking care of business here, but we still have another game to play in. So with that in mind, they just kind of, both teams I've heard and, been listening to a lot of different things with, ESPN's got a lot of people down in Arlington for the week and in the different campuses. Seems like the teams are just trying to run this like they've been running every other week, having their set practices, taking a couple extra days off, obviously 11 days in between. I don't think they're going to try and deviate too much from their normal plan. So with Oregon having classes, it might be a little bit easier for them to just kind of stay on course, don't get distracted, don't think of this as a bowl game, it's obviously it's your championship game, but it's, your practice preparation should be like every other game it's been all year.
Has it affected the point spread at all just because people are talking about it, or do you think it matters at all?
Well, I mean, there's been obviously a ton of money drawn in because it's the last game of the year. It's the standalone game, but the number opened at 7.5. With Oregon being the favorite, dropped down to 6 most places. So 6.5, 7 points, which is where most people will say that's pretty fair considering how these two teams have played all year. So it hasn't made too much of a difference. I think we'll see a lot of money pour in on Oregon right before kickoff, but I'm hearing from just sharks and public alike that a lot of people, it's pretty split down the middle. Books aren't going to have too much trouble finding action on both sides with this game, but nothing too crazy. I don't think we'll see it go past 7.5 or 8 because we're going to, like I said, we'll see a lot of balanced money come in on it.
Do you think that, with the way Cardell Jones has played, 2 games in a row, you wouldn't expect a third-string quarterback to have the performances he's had against, the teams he's done it against. And, going into this game, when is the magic going to run out? And do you think it runs out?
Well, the way I approach, looking at this Ohio State team with, Cardell Jones, a lot of people forget that when Braxton Miller was hurt before the season started, it was J.T. Barrett and Cardell Jones who were neck and neck in spring ball for the number 1 spot. So this guy, he's a capable quarterback. He's highly talented. And I think the fact that, he came in to one big game against Wisconsin for the Big Ten title, and then followed up with another big game, semifinal against Alabama. I think he's just playing fearless. It's almost best that you have this guy who had no, serious game action going into a spot like this. He's not overthinking things. He's just trusting his talent, running the game plan that, Urban Meyer's drawn out, running the offense and getting things done. I mean, this guy's extremely talented, and it's going to be interesting to see what Ohio State does in the future with these 2 quarterbacks. With, Barrett gets healthy and now having Jones, they're going to have a decision to make next year, regardless of if they win this game or not. But will the magic run out? I kind of do think it will. I think he's going to run into some trouble with this Oregon defense. Oregon plays fast, and everybody's saying that, you just kind of take for granted that these fast teams in college football aren't physical, but Oregon is fast and physical on both sides of the ball, but especially with their defense. So, he's not playing a slow, methodical, defense like a Alabama, more of a classic type defense. This Oregon team will really give him some issues. The thing is, he does have the deep ball threat. He can throw the ball, way downfield. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles this defense early.
Are there any interesting prop bets out there that have intrigued you for this championship game?
I've seen a couple of things. Nothing too big, really. I'm not really a big fan of prop bets with college games. I usually look at, prop bets more so for the Super Bowl. I looked at a couple of prop bets for this weekend as well in the NFL playoffs. But I haven't really taken too long of a gander at any props with this game. I'm sure I'll take a closer look towards the kickoff, but I haven't even really picked a side to bet on as far as, I like Oregon. I picked Oregon at the beginning of the year to win the title, but I'm not really, I haven't really, fired the trigger yet on laying the 6.5 or 7 points. I might look to live bet this game like I did with with last year's title with Florida State and Auburn. I ended up basically catching a middle in that game and making a nice profit. So I might look to do that as rather than betting anything beforehand.
Do you think it'll take a couple years before there's some goofy prop bets in the college football championship?
Oh, I mean, no, they're out there. They're available. I mean, everything's pretty standard now. Looking at at passing yards, total completions, rushing yards, stuff like that. I don't think we'll see anything crazy like, I'm not seeing coin toss, which is something I always like to bet for fun with the Super Bowl, or we're not going to see like the over/under on the time of the national anthem. I don't think it'll get that crazy in college football the way it has to the Super Bowl over the years. But I'm sure with this expanding, and everyone's talking about how this has been very successful for the betting end, for the television end with this playoff system. So they're going to expand it from 4 to 8 at some point. So we might see some more props within the quarterfinal and semifinal matchups that come about over the years, but nothing too. I don't think we'll see anything too expensive and out of the box.
Do you agree with the line right now for the college football, for the championship game right now?
Yeah, my numbers have it right down. I have Oregon as a 7.5-point favorite. Looking at the total's at 73.5. And that scares me a little bit because both of these teams could go nuts and turn this into a complete shootout, and we see a 56-53 game. But both teams have talented enough defenses to where they, these two teams they respect each other. They know what the other can bring to the table. So we could see these teams start off slow and feel each other out, which would kind of take away from a high total. You see, usually you see a college game around this high 60s, low 70s. You want to see scoring early and often. So that could be like I said, something we're going to look at. I would lean the over because these two offenses are very dynamic, and but at the same time, it's something I'm not just going to jump and dump a bunch of money on right away. If I make a play on it, it'd be something small.
What's a bet out there that you think people are going to lose a lot of money on within this
game?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna be pretty balanced money either way. I don't expect a blowout in this game, so I think it will be a fairly close battle. Like I said, it should fall within close to the number. But as far as these props go, everything seems to be pretty balanced. Nothing too crazy. I don't see anything like that. Unless you're just throwing in a bunch of money on one side or the other, it's just taking a balanced risk. But a wise bettor told me once, it's one game. Yes, it's the biggest game of the year for these two teams. It's the biggest game of the year to watch. But when you start, investing dollars, this game is no bigger or smaller than betting on a middle MAC game on Tuesday night, or a game early in the year. So you can't go crazy with betting this game because it's a title game. You have to remind people of that all the time, especially the Super Bowl. It's one game.
Do you think that's the biggest mistake people make, is putting way too much money on it just because they, I mean, no matter what, the same return is on the Super Bowl versus a regular season game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the Super Bowl is the biggest thing. Or even if you go just throughout the regular season, I get calls from clients and prospective clients and people all the time. They say, well, who do you like on the Sunday night game or the Monday night game? In the NFL, who do you like on Monday Night Football night? And it's not because it's that one game. It's on TV. They can watch it. They can crack open a beer, go to the bar. They want to put something on the game. They're not looking at the situations. There were plenty of I don't think I only bet maybe 3 or 4 Monday night games the whole season in the NFL. And actually, the first 2 or 3 were second half bets, so I didn't even look at anything pre-game. So you can't get caught up with the fanfare of it's a television game and the bright lights. It's just like the players. The players have to play this the same way they've been playing football, since the beginning of practice in summer. And as a bettor, you have to bet this, the same way. Like I said, the payout is exactly the same, no matter what the time of year. So you have to, people have to keep that in mind.
Which team do you think is going to have more players cheat on their girlfriends before this game?
That's an interesting prop.
Yeah,
I'd probably say.
I wish that was actually a prop bet. Players would have to check in at times with Vegas on what they were
Right.
doing, who was moving.